This is Glenn Campbell coming to you from Miami Beach with the meaning of life. That's right, on this very special episode, I'm going to be revealing the meaning of life once and for all. Here is the answer. Nobody knows. There is no meaning, at least none that we all agree with. All that we have is a lot of people making a lot of claims, thinking they have the meaning of life, but it's all bull. There's no satisfying explanation for why we are here. You can say, God put us here. Well, what does that answer? Who made God? We're all plunked down on this planet, in this strange body, in this strange environment, and we don't know how we got here. That's the fact of life. That's the true meaning out there, is that there isn't any meaning. We're all little lost sheep. But once you recognize that, once you see that, then things seem to fall into place. We're plunked down in this prison. Our memory has been wiped clean of anything that came before, and we have no knowledge of what's going to come after. So, what do? We deal with what's in front of us here, because this is a solid planet. It has characteristics of its own. We don't know how we got here, but the planet is here. We're here. We have to deal with it. When people ask the question, what is the meaning of life? They're not really asking, what's the big picture? They're asking, what's the meaning of my life? And that's a lot easier to answer. Obviously, you're here. You're on this planet. You have a body. First and foremost, you have to deal with what you've got. You have certain pains. The pain of hunger, the pain of loneliness. These are all things that you have to deal with, like it or not. Whether or not you know the big picture, you still have practical problems when you wake up in the morning to deal with. So even if you don't know the big scheme, the big meaning of life, just dealing with the problems in front of you gives you enough meaning. Gives you enough meaning to get through the day. If you accept what has happened to you, then you adapt to it. A lot of people don't accept what's happened to them. They fight reality. They fight the situation they've been put in. They go on a hunger strike and decide, it's not my choice to be here, so I'm not going to cooperate. Well, that's stupid. You have a life in front of you. You were born into this strange body. You were born into this environment. Let's deal with it. Let's at least solve the problems that are in front of us. The problems are in front of us are pretty obvious. If we don't eat every day, we're going to get hungry. We're going to feel pain. If we take certain actions, we feel pain. If we take other actions, we feel good about ourselves. So let's at least maximize those other actions. Let's try to plan ahead. We see that the world has structure. We can plan for that structure. We can decide what we're going to do in the future to react to this world. We can endure a little bit of pain now, knowing that it's going to give us more satisfaction later in life. So just dealing with the life in front of us is meaning in itself. That's what we call the existential position, that existence itself provides all the meaning you need. Okay, we didn't decide to arrive here in the circumstances that we did, but now that we have, let's deal with what's in front of us, and just in the process of dealing with what's in front of us, we give our life meaning. Now, you can go through life solving problems, but eventually, if you've solved your problems, you've reduced your pain, you do want to look for a bigger mission, and that when people say, what is the meaning of life, they're also talking about what is the meaning of my life in the big scheme? What do I want to accomplish with my life over the course of these years of incarceration? That's pretty simple. You want to improve the planet. It's as simple as that. You want to leave the planet in a better state than if you had never existed. There's no real reasoning behind that, except it's the best thing you can think of. Tell me a better mission. Than improving the planet. Once you decide you want to improve the planet, the next question is, how do you go about it? And that's a complicated thing. It's really hard to figure out what actions I can take to improve mankind. And it's not just a matter of doing good every day, doing a good deed or something like that, because these good deeds really don't amount to much in the microscopic level. You can feed a lot of hungry people and still have no effect on the world as a whole. So you have to start thinking about the big picture. What is these small actions I can take that will have a big effect? And that's a difficult task. And that involves not just giving to the world, but also giving to yourself. You have one thing in this world, and that is your body. That is something that you own. You didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for the configuration that you got, but you got it. It's your one tool for interacting with the world. So you can invest in this body, and most notably invest in the brain, so that you make better decisions in the future and that you can help humanity even more. So we can feed the hungry. We can do small actions to help people, but if we invest in our education, for example, if we go on to we invest in medical school for ourselves, we go on to get a medical degree, we can help people a lot more than if we just barge out into the world and try to feed the hungry. We invest in medical school, but there's a lot of other things you can invest in. That is why your number one concern is yourself. You have to maintain your tool before you go out and use your tool for the good works of man. You have to maintain it. You have to make sure it's in good running order. You have to invest in systems. So it's not just a matter of doing good for humanity. You do good for humanity, number one, by doing good for you, by building up your own skills, your own resources that you can then use to improve the planet in some way. And I'm not going to tell you how you're going to improve the planet, because each person has to figure it out on their own. You have certain assets that I don't have. I have certain assets. We have to decide how can we apply these assets to the welfare of man. And hopefully we have fun along the way. You know, just because you're working for an altruistic goal, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself. I mean, that's a lot of your effectiveness in the world is how good you feel about yourself, how good you feel about how organic whatever project you're working on is doing. If you're throwing yourself against a wall, then you're probably doing things the wrong way. So the meaning of life, there isn't any, face it. The meaning of life is what's in front of you and dealing with it. If you're foresighted, you will deal with life far into the future. You will think about the systems that you need to develop today to make yourself more effective in the future. But really, all you're dealing with is what's here. Maybe there's a God who will judge you at the end. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. You've got these resources at your disposal. Use them. You got a body? Use it. You might as well make the best you can of this prison while you're here.